Mhm.
Okay. So have you guys been doing studying, or have you been mostly doing your interp stuff?
Mostly intern. A lot of intern stuff.
Mostly interp. Okay.
Working on
So then
vocab. Yeah.
you've been working on vocab?
I've been working on vocab, and I haven't finished this, but I set out on the tedious task of trying to chart all the weak verbs, uh, and just see if I can notice any patterns.
What kind of patterns are you looking for, aside from the ones that they tell you in the book?
Like, I guess it's just like I need to see the. I'm trying to visualize the ones that I see there in the book, but that's what I'm looking for. Just because I guess I'm realizing that like the way the book is set up, it's like strong, uh, strong on derived stem, weak on derived stem, strong on derived stem, weak on derived stem. And I'm thinking I can wrap my information around it all better if I categorize it like this is how this weak form works across all the derived stems. I'm just trying to like organize it like that.
Well, I think you might be looking for one that doesn't really exist.
Does it not?
I mean, there are similarities, but other than that, like, there's not a way that third hay, well, the third hay does work the same, but I mean, what's the other one? First new, first yoke, they change a little bit. There are a couple of stems that are the same, but they're differently in all
Right,
of the other stems.
right.
And so if you were to make like a weak stem, like a chart like
That's
this,
exactly.
for
Yeah.
all of your weak stems, it's going to be very crowded because
Very what?
it's gonna be very crowded because some of them have
Right.
multiple options. Like there's one gutturals that have like type 2 and type 1 options and those kinds of things. And so
Right.
I think the biggest thing that you need to remember is that the first nudes and the first yods always look pretty different, regardless of what they're in. Like the word, the lexical form just looks really different when you try and put it into any of the derived stems. And then the third hay always has those third hay endings, and that's the big difference with those. Right. And the rest of them, all of the gutturals, those are different based on where the dagesh is. So, like, you don't know second gutturals in the nifal because it doesn't matter because there's no dagesh in the second rate position. But you do need to know first gutturals in the nifal because that's where the dagesh is for the diagnostic, and so that's where it's going to change because gutturals reject the dagesh.
Gotcha.
Does that help at all?
That is helpful. That like basically like talking through this stuff is really helpful. At least for me. I don't know if everyone else feels that way. Just like talking about patterns with weak verbs that go. I mean, and I realize it's not clean, but just where it is. Because I think one of my biggest one of my biggest fears for this exam is gutturals. I mean, not weak verbs. Just like if everything were strong verbs, I think I could make an A on this exam.
Yeah, because you know your diagnostics, right?
Right.
Okay. You could then, I mean, if that's where you feel comfortable is learning a diagnostic sheet, then you could make up a diagnostic sheet for all of the weak verbs.
Right.
I think I may have a copy of one. that I could send you. I have to look. But also, I think what you have to remember though is that it's typically when there is a dagish somewhere, that's where there's going to be changes. And the first noon and the first yod are just generally problematic.
Gotcha.
So if you remember the rules for what typically happens with a noon, which is it normally assists, and then it turns into a dagish, so it's like this, and just curls up into a ball like that. Or the first yod, where yod is lightsaber verbs. And so the yod comes down into a lightsaber like a vav. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If you remember those, then they'll be easier to recognize. But those are like the main patterns. And the rest of it, you're just going to have to get comfortable with and used to looking for.
Could you talk about that lightsaber thing for a minute?
The lightsaber?
Yes.
Well, you can kill people with it, and it glows green and red.
That's what I was looking for.
I thought so.
Yeah, just,
Okay,
yeah.
why don't we... Let me see. Hold on one second. Why don't we go through parsing examples that might be helpful for you in the near future? And I'm sure that one gutturals and second gutturals and Bob consecutives with a hifil and first yods and lightsabers and noons that curl up into balls, I think they'll all be there. What do you think? Or do you want to talk about it? Or do you want both?
Parsing. Let's do parsing. I vote let's do the parsing.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do the parsing first, and then if it's still confusing and difficult, we'll go back to that. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have 4 verbs that I want you to parse, but the first 4 I want you to also know the definition, because those will be really helpful because, I don't know, like if you needed to translate them and parse them. You need to know the definition too, like in an extended translation section. Okay. So what about the top one? Can you see, well actually, can you see all 4 of those and you can copy them down?
Mm-hmm. No, I see 3.
I see 3.
How about now?
See part of the bottom one.
You still only see 3?
I see the top of the bottom one.
You see the top of the bottom one. Okay, do the top first and then tell me when you're done. That's very
I thought the first one.
You got it?
Wait. Yeah. Got it.
Okay. So I went off my chair. Okay. So how about the top? Matt, do you want to
No.
start with the parsing? Actually, I don't want you to do the top one. Micah, will you parse the top one?
I was saying I was ready for the fourth one. Could you show the fourth one for a second?
What?
Could you show the fourth one for a second?
The fourth one?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't go below the line yet. Well, unless you want to copy it down.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Micah, will you parse the top one?
Sure. I was confused why the medial vowel wasn't there. But I thought it was Vav consecutive imperfect 3ms from cum.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know the stem.
Okay. Well, you've got that part right. And do you remember the definition of cum?
Mm-hmm. To arise.
Okay, good.
So
You've got
it would be so Vav consecutive imperfect. It would be like a completed action translation value, but I'm missing the stem.
the stem. Okay. Well, if it were perfect, it would have the medial vowel, right?
Right.
Okay. Do you remember any of the other stems that we learned? Hold on. That doesn't have a medial vowel with a bicon?
It's slipping my mind.
Okay. I'm just trying to find an example. I know the answer,
Okay.
but I'm going to find the example for you on the page. I think it is. I can't find the number.
What stem is it?
It actually is cow.
It's cow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dang it.
Yeah. The other one that it could have potentially been, but it's not, is Hifil, which is the other one where you learned the bicon with the stems.
Uh-huh.
But the Hifil would have to have the Hierarch yod.
Right. Right.
And typically the cow has to have the medial vowel. But this version of it is kind of like a, I think, what do they call it? An apocryphated version of it.
Okay.
And it usually has to do with what's coming after it. Just with the vowels or consonants that are coming next.
Could it be Joseph then?
It could be if it's the first in what am I trying to say? If it's the first in its what's the word I'm looking for? Clause. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Thank you. That's helpful. Apocryphated.
Apocryphated. Okay. So that one was kind of weird. but sometimes the vowels change just slightly when it's in sections of Hebrew, just because the vowels tend to change based on what's going to make it easier to pronounce if you're speaking it. Then, let's see. Sharon, will you parse the second one? Maybe in a little bit. Okay, how about Matt? Will you parse the second
No,
one?
I'm sorry. I forgot. I didn't press my mic. Can you put that one back up really quick, please?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
I wrote that down wrong. Not. Next. I have no clue what this word is.
Do you recognize what that lexical form is?
Nope, I don't at all. That's why I said I have no clue what this word is. Just said that. I'm looking it
Okay.
up.
Okay. Then before you do that, what does the vowels that are in it, what do they look like to you? What diagnostics do you know that have those
Participle.
a participle?
Yeah.
What else do you know about that? Like if you were to parse that out, you would put participle, but what else?
Feminine singular. I think.
What you said singular, and did you say masculine or feminine?
Feminine.
Feminine singular. And what stem would you say?
Cow.
Cow. So if it's a cow participle, then don't you need to say whether it's active or passive as well?
It's active.
Okay. So cow, active participle, feminine singular. So then if you just said that's what it is, then what do you think the lexical form is?
Okay, so it's Vav.
Maybe it looks like a vav when you're looking at my handwriting. If it was
Yeah,
printed
that's
out,
why
it
I'm
would probably look
struggling.
more like a resh.
More like a, oh, it's a race?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That helps. Right. Rahas. Maybe that's why I couldn't find it. Thank you.
Uh-huh. So what do you see as the lexical form before you look? What do you think it is?
Rahats.
Yeah.
Rahats.
Yeah. Yeah. You may lexicon for that. I don't know if that is in the back of the book.
Oh. I don't
Oh,
have
it
a
is in the back of the book.
To wash off?
Yep.
I did not know that word. Why did that?
Well, that's a vocab word from chapter 28, so everyone has a new vocab word they can learn.
Yeah.
They probably will need it to be able to translate.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So altogether, you said that was cal, active
Cal,
participle,
active participle,
singular,
singular.
right?
Wow.
From rahat,
Rahats.
which is to wash.
Wow. To wash off. Okay.
Okay.
Pay attention. Let's go.
How about the third one? Let's see. Yeah, this one is kind of fun. Matt, do you have a third one? Did you say John is in there? Turn on your mic. Cool. Turn on your mic. Click the mic.
Got it. Yes, there he
you
is.
go.
There's John.
Okay, John, will you parse the third one?
Sure. Clearly, there's a Vav consecutive.
Yeah.
The word that's clear to me, but it's a third hay. It looks, well, yeah, it looks like a third hay. So it looks like Kuf, Kametz, Het Kametz, hay, which
It
doesn't seem to,
is. One second.
or
Yeah, yeah.
something. Oh,
Phenomenal
maybe there's a
suffix.
nifal there.
The
It's rolled into the Kuf.
This one is one of the. I think you learned like 3 or 4 verbs that don't follow any of the normal patterns. And so it looks like that would be what the lexical form is, but
Yeah.
it's not. The lexical form is actually laka. I think in the imperative chapter, which I think is chapter 18, is those verbs that just, they're the list of verbs all in that section. It's on page 215 and 216 that just tend to act differently. If you want to make note of those again, I'll tell you again. It's Nathan, Laka, and Halak, and Haya does it a little bit as well. But those are the main ones that kind of do whatever they want to. Okay. So, if you know that the lexical form is Laka, how would you parse it? You got the Vav consecutive.
Is this cow imperfect? What is it? It's a goal. No, that's a goal. It's like Hollywood. That's the goal is kind of throwing me. Is that part of suffix?
The hey in the comments. Is that what
Yeah,
you're
that's
asking
the goal.
about?
So, can you hear me okay? The goal in front with the hey and the comments is that a pronomial suffix or like her?
Yeah,
Feminine,
pronominal suffix for her. So if you took that pronominal suffix off, what would be the person, gender, number of the verb itself?
Oh, so 3FS?
Well, the FS would come from the pronominal suffix. So if you take the pronominal suffix off, which is basically, where is it? That. If you took that off.
Yeah. So masculine syndrome. 3MS.
So that would, yeah, that would make it 3MS.
So he, after secondary, he took her?
Right. And he took her.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. When you're looking at that one, the thing to remember is the lexical form, which is laka, because it looks like, if you remember that, it looks like it would be nifal. Where is it? There it is. It looks like it has the nifal diagnostics, but it's not,
Yeah.
because laka is the lexical form in laka. Okay?
What was that stem?
The ka. That is one of the
I got-
3 or 4 verbs.
From
What?
Cal Imperfect, right?
Yeah, cal imperfect with a verb consecutive and a second,
3 of them.
I mean not second, third feminine singular pronominal suffix.
Ooh, wee. Sorry.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yes. Oh, I see it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a tricky one. Look at the
Do you
baby.
have any other questions about that one, or do you want to move on to the next one?
Next one. So she home.
Okay. How about the 4th one then, Matt?
I totally get that. All right, so let me start this for a minute. So that is I guess that's an imperfect with a verb consecutive.
That's a good guess.
And I just don't know what happened to the. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's going to be a hifil.
Hifil imperfect.
Yeah, hifil imperfect with verb consecutive,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be is that going to be like it's a toss-up between where it can be either a 3FS or a 2MS?
Yes. So saying, I mean, if you were to assume that all 4 of these verbs go together in one section, and you've already had a 3FS pronominal suffix, what do you think this one is? Pretend that's all of your
3F.
context. Yeah, it's 3FS.
Cool.
What's the lexical form?
It's a wonderful question.
I have faith in you.
So let me just think through it. So it's a weird weak form.
Mm-hmm.
So, and given the fact that there's a dagish, that has to be a noon.
Yes.
So noon, gimel, daleth.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Why am I thinking like south? But I know that doesn't mean south.
This Negev is very close.
Because
Yeah,
Negev is south.
Oh, that's to touch. Is that to touch?
Close, but no. This one is a vocab word, but it's within like the last couple of chapters.
Okay.
So you could
Let's
use
see
the back
here.
of your book, or you could use your lexicon.
That's what I'm working on here. To make known, to report, to tell.
Yes. You got it. So if you were going to translate that as a hifil, you'd probably pick something like to tell or declare. rather than to make known. Yeah? Like if you're going to
Right.
translate it from a mystery
And so,
passage of Scripture.
so yeah. So Hifil, it's causative voice and it's active, and so that would be like 3FS. So um, she like wouldn't I want to say made known since it's causative?
Would you want to what?
She like made known. Wouldn't that make most sense with it being causative?
You could, but just,
Well,
yeah, you can definitely do that. Idiomatically, you could just say she told, because that's how you make
okay.
something known.
It'd be more like she will tell. Since oh no, you're right. It's a vav. Okay,
Right.
vav imperfect. So yes. So she. Okay, so she told. All right,
So you got it?
got it.
Okay.
Question.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Why does that have a Siri?
because it is a Hifil with a Vav consecutive. And if you, that's on page something of the Hifil chapter. 349. What it's telling you is whenever you have a Hifil with a Vav consecutive, the Hirik Yoth is going to change to a Sarai.
Oh.
It's just kind of a weird thing it is.
Alyssa, what are the letters of that word? Because I think I missed something. Because I just completely lost myself. I have the Vav consecutive, then I have a Tau and a Gimel and a Dalit.
Yeah, that's what you have.
Okay.
So
And
it's
then
a
Nagat.
Vav consecutive with a pathak underneath it.
Yeah.
The Tau has a dot in it and a pathak
Right.
underneath it. The Gimel has a dot in it and a Sarai underneath it, and the Dalit is by itself.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you said Nagat, right? It's a first noon, right? That's what he was
Yeah.
saying.
Right.
I missed. I'm not.
So
seeing-
this one has a couple of things going on that you have to be aware of with the parsing. And as you all know, the sheepheader well enough to know that she likes the weird parsing. If she's going to ask you for parsing, it's going to be the weirdest she can come up with. So this one is first noon, so you've got to be aware of that. And it does the weird Hifil change of vowels because of the Vav consecutive. So you've got to be able to do both. Okay?
I got that.
And you got all four of these verbs, which is and he rose, and then what was the second one?
Washa.
Yeah, and so it's an active partial, so it's like while she was bathing, or something like that. And then it's and he took her, and then it is and she told. So if that was all going together in potentially a passage of scripture that you may or may not have seen before, could you come up with a story that's potentially being told just by those verbs?
He rose. Oh, Bathsheba?
That is an excellent guess. I think you should study that story. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, how about parsing in general? And this time, you don't need to do,
What the?
you don't need to do the definitions. Just parse it for me, okay? So I'm just gonna throw up like the first. You can see like 3 at a time easily. So I'm gonna show you the first 3. You copy them down, and we'll go through and parse together. Okay? Tell me if you can't read my handwriting.
Can't read that.
On the first one, it looks like there's two Hurex.
I think that's supposed to be a Sarai.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm.
Is that a Gimel right after that? What is that?
No, that's where my pen ran out, and it's an Aleph. Do you want me to rewrite that? I'm gonna rewrite it. Because it's stressing me out. Okay, now can you see it?
Yep.
Can you tell in the second one that that's a Lamed with a dot in it?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Can you pull up the bottom ones, and then a little triple dot? Seeing that? Thank you.
Better?
Yes.
Am I holding it like right where your line of everyone else's pictures are? Is that why you're not seeing it?
Yeah.
Okay, I was trying to not do that. Sorry.
What
Is that
is
better?
after the third one? What is that letter?
After what?
The holum in the third one, is that a resh?
Yeah, it is. Sorry. Got all three of them? Good. Okay. Micah, will you parse the first one?
I'll try.
Yay. What can you see from it that you can just know off the bat so you can kind of give yourself a head start?
Yeah. um, I think it's 3MP.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
I think it's imperfect.
Yeah.
I think it's from a cow.
Yeah.
The Sarai is what's throwing me off.
I can understand that.
Is the Sarai because it's a one gut?
The Sarai, hold on one second. Let me just make sure
Okay.
that I wrote that the right way, because that would suck. Yeah, I did. Okay. So.
Is that a one gut niffle?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be niffle imperfect,
Mm-hmm.
3MP
Mm-hmm.
from a call.
A call. Mm-hmm. Good. Sharon, do you want to do the second one?
Sure. I was just fixing my letters. I'm spelling everything wrong here. All jacked up. A call. Okay.
You can blame that on my handwriting. That's fine.
No, it's probably my vision. Good. Okay. Okay. Yeah. The oath ending. It has to be a perfect with. It is a. I need to put that up. I'm missing a vowel. Is it a pathak under the Gimel?
Yeah, it's a pathak under the gimel,
Thank you. All
and
right.
there's a dot in the lamed.
I got everything else. I was missing that. PL.
Mhm. It is PL.
Infinitive construct. 3
Yeah.
and.
You don't need any PGN for
Oh,
infinitive construct.
Thanks.
Mhm.
From
What are the ones that you need PGN for?
which ones do I need it for?
Yeah.
Perfect, imperfect, participle, imperative.
Mhm. Yep.
But well, participle is just person, gender, not number.
It's not person. It's just gender and number. Then no, I'm doing that backwards.
I said it right. It's just person and gender, not number. Please tell me I'm right.
Yeah.
Sorry, sorry. From Gala,
Mhm.
or is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Sweet.
Then John, will you do the third one? Your mics are still off.
Yeah.
Okay, it's from Bara.
Mhm.
See there? Hold on. Okay, it's not good then. No. Again, with this some. Is that another pronominal suffix? Can see the segol, T. Let me see the segol over there.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's see it. Yeah, we're insecure. The pronominal suffix for 1CS. Mm-hmm. And
Ouch.
and now it's not a competitor. Alright, it's not a 30. It's not an angry Baker bird. I'm thinking where the I was coming coattail. I was kind of thinking like the feminine singular from the active participles. Is that kind of getting screwed up by the pronominal suffix for the second for the first? No, because the first ago would be there, right? What am I looking at? Uh-huh.
Comments, whatever.
You can call this.
What are you thinking that it could be?
I'm trying to remember. There's something about the Hofal, where sometimes the Holem shows up.
Where the Holm shows up.
But I can't remember where it is.
But the Hofal also has the hay in front of it.
Can you put it up and make sure I copied it right?
Yep. Where'd it go?
Oh, that's not a Seagull, that's a Schwa. I didn't copy it right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 3MS. Okay. Hold on, is really Japanese?
Let me just also make sure.
If I knock that off, you said it is a phenomenal site. Are we sure?
Okay.
Wait, we could pronominal suffix the one CS?
What?
You say it was the pronominal suffix at the end?
I didn't say either way if it was the pronominal suffix at the end. But if it was, what chapter is the pronominal suffixes on verbs? Do you remember? I do. It's chapter 19. And
No. No,
That's a perfect.
it wasn't perfect.
Let's see.
Perfect 1CS.
it looks like a perfect 1CS, right?
Yeah, oh, you didn't hear me.
No.
Okay, that part, yeah, but the Holem is throwing me for the stem.
Mhm.
So it doesn't look like, well, maybe, wait a minute. Is it just because of the ending it looks funny? Is it a participle? Active?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure.
No.
The Holm is kind of weird, but it doesn't match. it doesn't match any of the other options for your stems. Because even though in the Hofal there is a time when it can change to an O vowel, it still needs the hey in front of it to make it Hofal, right? So that can't be the option. Hithfael, Hifil, they all have the hey in front of them. So right now, your options that don't have a prefix are either PL, Pual, or Cal.
I'm going to say cow.
You're going to go with Cal?
Final answer.
Let's see.
Final answer, Cal.
Please be.
Yeah, there was.
Okay.
Cool.
Then Cal, because I don't think the Pual can do the O stem. Does that make sense? I mean,
What's-
obviously not the Y, but the process of elimination.
Did you say it was Cal?
I said that it was yeah, I said it was Cal because the Pual doesn't have the option for the O stem instead of the kibbutz.
It doesn't?
Under,
I thought with compensatory lengthening it could.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about the resh.
That's exactly what it is. It's the right because of the resh.
The only reason I say that is because I have this little cheat sheet right here.
Look at that. Yes, you're right. The Pual with the resh. That's the one where the O stem comes from.
So it's a Pual.
That's also on page 340. If you want to look at it.
I'm looking right at it.
So it's Pual perfect, right?
Yeah, and 1 CS.
1 CS
Ara.
from Barak. Good.
Yikes.
That's such a like.
It's such a obscure parsing that you could probably expect to be on a final.
Possibly.
Possibly, maybe.
Maybe.
At some point. You have so many finals between now and when you graduate. I'm sure one of them will have this on there.
Right.
Matt, I only showed you the top 3. Okay, so bottom 2. Copy those down.
Like that's the example of like a great like
That's
gutter result, you know, that like it keeps me up at night. I mean, thanks
That
for
keeps you up at night?
oh Jesus.
just like that random like race right there means something like completely that would only happen. I mean, ugh.
Okay. Well, that's when you got to do the process of elimination that I just took you through. So your initial thought, because of the vowels and the diagnostics, was that it was Hofal, but it can't be Hofal because you need a hey prefix in order for it to be Hofal. So then the next thing that you would go to, if you thought that it was going to be Hofal because of the potential for an O vowel, the only other stem that is remotely similar to that is the Pual with the vowels that are underneath it. And the Pual doesn't have any prefix, so even if you're not 100% certain, the Pual is your best guess, and you would have gotten it right. Because you know it's not cow,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And then if it will help you, which I'm sure it will, you could, at the very top of your test, write down all of the gutturals. Do you remember all of them?
Resh and Aleph and
Mm.
A and Pet and Ayin.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes Rish.
Yep. Pretty much all the time, right? Okay.
like it.
So if you put that up there, and then every time you look at your verbs for parsing, just look to see if there's a guttural. And if there's a guttural, then that's going to affect what you're looking at. But the good thing is, you saw that verb and you recognized immediately what the lexical form was. You knew that it was perfect, and you knew the PGN. So all you have to do from there is recognize that the guttural is changing something, and what are your potential options. And if you know your strong diagnostics well enough, it will bring you back to just either hofal or pual, and then you know that it has to have a hifil. I mean a hey in order for it to be hofal, so that brings it down to pual. So there are ways around not understanding all of the patterns, or the fact that there aren't the patterns that you're looking for. Does that help? And do you have these two? Can I put this down now?
Oh, sorry. I was like, no. Let me get it real quick. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I just didn't want to take it down before you got it because you're parsing the next one.
Oh.
Oh,
Sorry. I was just looking at charts trying to wrap my mind around what you're saying. I got it down.
you got it down?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Let's see here. So that's got to be imperfect.
Yeah.
And then I got it. There's going to be imperfect, 3MP, and so I'm guessing that is from Bo,
Mm-hmm.
Bait, Hulim, Vav, Aleph is the lexical form.
Yeah.
And because sometimes that commets is a pathak with compensatory lengthening. And so I'm trying to rule that out for a second. Or it could be, so I'm just thinking out loud. So
That's okay.
it could be, I mean, that could be like a legit pathak, so that'd make it like a hofal. That'd make it a hofal imperfect. Or it could be one that's going to have the pathak under it, which would make it either a hifil. So it's either a hofal or a hifil. And because of the hirek yod, I'm going to say it's a hifil.
That is good. You should do that.
And
Because
so-
also, if this will help, if you look at page 361, that gives you all of the all the diagnostics for bicons in the hifil. And basically, the big thing is they have the hirek yod in them. No matter what the medial vowel typically is, the hirek yod is there instead to indicate that it's hifil.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Then, Micah, will you do the one that was below that?
I had that was Cal Imperfect 3MP from Bo.
Mm-hmm. And so you guys see the difference there between the two? The hifil and then the cal?
So it's like a rule. Anytime you see the remedial vowel on a bicon, it's cal. Always.
In the imperfect.
it doesn't have a vowel in the middle of it.
Okay.
Okay? Because remember the perfect, which I'm positive you remember this because it's one of the paradigms that you need to know, right?
Mm-hmm.
The perfect with the bicons, it takes the medial vowel out, and that's one of the reasons you have to know that paradigm. But the main reason you don't have to know the cal imperfect paradigm is because the expected medial vowel is in the cal imperfect bicon verbs.
Is the expected medial vowel. Okay.
Okay?
But the performative vowel is a come-outs, right?
Right.
I had to look that up.
Yeah, so like for cal, so that was, I guess, the main reason that we had to learn the cal imperfect bicon when I was in the class, and I think it was just because of the comments underneath the performatives. But it's also a relatively simple paradigm to just run through, and you'll remember it pretty quickly because it follows the same prefix, like the same performatives except for that vowel as your regular imperfect, and then you just throw in the expected medial vowel, so it's like yakum, takum, takum, and so on and so on. So you could do that to just keep it in your mind, and that will remind you that cal imperfect bicons have the comments underneath it. But that's up to you. And the main difference that you're going to see is the cal imperfect has the expected medial vowel, and the hifil imperfect has the hirik yod for the hifil. But they both have the comments underneath the prefixes.
What would it have been if it was a hofal imperfect?
It would have been
Shirek, right?
yeah, Shurek. And then it would have been Pathak instead of a hirik yod or the expected medial vowel.
Gotcha.
What
Can I
would
ask
the
a random
have
question?
been under the aleph?
What?
What would the pathak have been under the aleph?
Oh, I see what you're looking at. Sorry. No, it would have been underneath the bait. So you would have had Yod, Shurek, Bait, Pathak, Aleph.
For hofal.
Correct.
Okay.
So, like the Hofal, remember when you were doing the Hofal, it has U-class vowels and O-class vowels
Mm-hmm.
as diagnostics. The Shurek is basically another form of the U-class vowel. So it's just the kibitz going up into a Shurek for the bicon.
Gotcha.
Okay? Does that help?
Yeah, I see.
Okay. Then let's do more parsing. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 10 more.
Before we start, can I ask
Yes.
a question?
Uh-huh.
For a certain final that we may take between now and graduation,
Uh-huh.
will there be questions in this kind of a format?
We talked about that last week. Yes.
There will be questions that are grammatical questions, and they will have a format, but it won't be exactly that. It may be,
I ask because this really stresses me out.
I completely understand why that would stress you
Because
out.
this has no context or words, or it just feels really trivial.
Yeah. My plan was to go through this parsing and then probably go through more grammatical questions. But also, if I was going to go through everything, I could probably go right up to 6:30 if you guys wanted to, if you're trying to take the final prior to next week, but I am doing tutoring again next week. Okay? So right now it's 5:30 and I can go up to 6:30. Well, technically, I can go up to like 6:20 because I have class at 6:30. Okay? But you don't
Okay.
have to take this final until May 3rd. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So, parsing. And I'll start with those grammatical questions when we get to it. But let's finish this first. So, can you see 3 right now, sort of?
Mm-hmm. Is that a Daleth or a Raish in the first one?
Looks like a Dalit to me.
That's true. In the last one, is that a noon before the oath or a cough?
Yeah, it's a noon.
Oh.
Got all 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then, you just said the last one. Micah, you just said the last one, right? Okay. Sharon, will you do the first one?
Called it. All right. Hola. Okay. Tumus. Let me go backwards. Whole lot data. Whole lot data. Okay. I feel. I'm a little lost on this one. Just give me a minute.
Okay.
I want to say it is a 2MS though. Wait, I take that back. Yeah. No.
Okay.
No, it's not a 2MS. Is it a hit fill?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have Phil what?
I'm looking. Hold on. Hold on, Bob.
Remember, remember what we were talking about earlier with weak verbs and lightsabers?
Ah, okay. Yes. Ah, no wonder I couldn't figure out the word. Yalad. Okay, thank you. Okay, from Yalad, it is a Hifil first yod perfect
Mm-hmm.
3MS.
Is it a 3MS?
Yes. Hold on. Wait, I take that back. 2MS.
2MS?
Yeah.
That sounds better.
I was right. Oh, shit.
Good. Then, John, will you do the second one?
Wait. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Looks like Hifil has the attack under the men. And Hur, Yod.
Hifil. I heard Hifil, and then I didn't hear it. Sorry.
Oh, I said, I think it's a Hifil because you get the Pyrrhic Yod, and you've also got an M at the beginning with a Ta. You get a Dagesh in the red. No. No, wait a minute. Oh, something that's better.
So I heard Hifil because of the Hierarchio, and then I heard you have a Dagesh in the bait, and then what does that Dagesh tell you?
Well, if that man is a prefix for Hifil, then there's a consonant missing. So the only one I know that rolls up in a little ball and gets in there is in noon, but
Right.
not recognizing the word though is why I'm not saying it out loud. But
Oh, okay.
now I'm saying it out loud.
But if you didn't recognize the word, but you could put the noon in there, what would that lexical form be then?
Right, noon, kamets, they attack, text.
Right. Which is navat, which is to look at or to regard.
Oh yeah, now that is something to look at, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. So you said it was a Hifil participle, and then did you tell me what the gender and number is?
I didn't say participle, but thank you.
Oh, my bad. Now you did. But why would you have said participle, even if I said that?
Because of the men, which is
Right.
what I started with in the beginning, yeah. So, so all that's left is... Why is it always harder when it's your turn? I don't understand.
Murphy's Law.
Huh?
Murphy's Law.
And I'm not seeing any endings, so masculine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, can you hear me? Masculine. I'm not seeing any endings on there, so masculine singular.
Good. So it's a Hifil participle masculine singular from navat. You're incredible. Okay, Matt. How about the third one?
Before you move on, could you show it again? I think I saw it wrong.
The third one or it doesn't
second.
matter. I'll show you both of them.
Yeah. Okay, I missed the yod.
I can completely understand why that would have happened.
Thank you. I got it
Mm-hmm.
now.
Okay. Matt, how about the third one?
It's a Hith Pale.
Mm-hmm.
Lexical form is Ayin commits noon commits hey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying that, yeah, infinitive construct because of the third hey ending there.
Yeah, with the oath ending.
Yes.
Yeah. You're right. So it's Hifpael infinitive construct of, what did you say? You told me the lexical, Anna.
Anna.
And you don't need anything else with the infinitive construct, right?
You don't.
Good. All right. You only saw 3, right? So the next 3? Where are they? There you go. Copy those down.
What is that third letter in the first one?
Raish.
I think it's a moon.
In that second one, can you tell that that's supposed to be in noon?
Now I can. She said it.
Good. Sorry.
And the final one, is that a noon or a... That's a noon, I guess.
Yeah, it's a noon. And then a stomach and then a hay. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then, what did we just do? Okay, so Micah, will you do the first one?
Okay. I know right away it's a participle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, because I know it's a participle, that it's feminine singular.
Good.
It's from Barak.
Yep.
And it has to be I don't think it, well, thinking through all my options, and I'm going to say it's a niffle.
Okay.
Is that right or wrong?
Well, does the niffle have a mem prefix for the participle?
No, it does not. Okay, that's wrong.
Then the next thing that I would say do is just look at the mem prefix, and it has the schwa underneath it. Which are the stems that have the schwa?
It's just peel or pool, right?
Right. Those are your only 2 options. And so then you can go from there.
Okay. And so going from there, this is compensatory lengthening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the kamats was what was throwing me.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was looking for adot.
Right.
Adat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because it's a second gut, it's verbally processing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
gotcha. So this would be peel, participle, feminine singular from Barak.
Yep.
Thank you.
You got it. Okay, so that means Sharon, it's your turn.
I have Hofal from Nassau.
Mm-hmm.
1 CP Perfect.
Good. Profile perfect. 1 CP from. No, wait. I'm sorry. Is that what you said? 1
Yeah.
CP. Yes, you're right. I got confused myself for a second. Yeah, from Nassau.
Mixed up on
You
that.
did it.
Thank you.
Then, John, will you do the one that's underneath it?
See this one?
Looks like yeah,
Simulated. That rolls up into that.
right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Nassau.
I heard Nassau. And I think you may have been saying something else before then, but I didn't hear it.
Yeah. I see the dot under the Hirak under the noon, and the Dagesh in the summit. So, well, wait a minute, guy. No, wait.
So you
Yeah.
said PL.
Yeah, because the noons in the I wanted to double check with the nifal, but those are only participle and the perfect, and they don't have. It doesn't look like this. They don't have the Dagesh in the second.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm going with PL because I see the the Dagesh in the second and the Hirak under the first.
hmm
Looks like perfect. Free MS.
hmm
I said Nassau already, right?
Yes, you did. hmm
Cool.
So yeah, so that would be the PL perfect with the third hey endings, which is why that that vowel underneath the samic is different than what you might be expecting. Okay, and there's just 4 more to parse. So I'm gonna hold up the first 2 and then the second 2, and then we're gonna parse all 4 of them.
Alyssa, for that Nassau one, why is there not a Dagesh doubling dot or in the noon?
Because because it's a PL perfect.
Right. So.
And
Uh-huh.
and so that one just the PL just needs the Hirak underneath and a doubling dot in the second, not necessarily a doubling dot in the first.
Okay. Because I was expecting that because of it's a first noon.
Yes.
So the assimilation, I thought would
Right.
make 2 dots.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The only time you would need that would be the only time that it would for the first noon that you would see the assimilation is if there's something that goes in front of it.
Oh. Like.
Because it doesn't need to go anywhere because there's not a prefix for the PL or the PUAL for the first noon.
Could you say that another way? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So with the first noon, you have the assimilation there whenever there is a prefix in front of it. That's when the noon is going to drop off.
Okay.
So like with the nifal, there's the prefix
Oh.
noon. With if that had been instead of perfect, if that had been imperfect, that noon would have been in a different. It would have looked different.
Thank you.
And then that's why it looks different and why you have first noon weak verbs that you have to know in the hifil and the hofal and the hispael because they all have the hays in front.
Right.
So it's that prefix that's really making the noon go where it wants to. It doesn't like anything coming in front of it and then it gets frustrated and curls up into a ball when you put anything in front of it.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So copy these 2, and then I'm going to show you 2 more. Okay? And then we'll copy all 4 of them, and then go through all 4 of them.
That could have been a participle, the last one too, right?
What?
The last one, the one that I just did, it could have been a participle too, right?
For the PL.
Because we said like the comments lengthens because of the hey at the end, but the participle looks exactly the same.
I know that one.
But it couldn't have been a PL participle because the PL participle would have had a mem.
I'm looking at something else. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
Is that first letter code for noon?
Hold on, I have to look at it to be able to tell you.
Let's go for it.
It's a noon.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Could you talk, Alyssa? Like
Yeah.
the camera switch. Thanks.
Sorry. Oh, you know what you can do, Micah, as well? You can click on the camera screen, like on that bottom row right there, on the one that you want to stay up the whole time. And then, yeah, then that's the one you'll see.
Switch in microphone.
So it doesn't bounce around a lot. Can you guys see that there's a schwa underneath that vav on the second one? Okay, good. And you have both of those down? Can I put up the last two?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And there are the last two that we're going to parse.
That's a resh in the middle letter of the first one, right?
Yeah. Got 'em?
I got him.
Okay. All right. For the first one, the who's doing this one? Matt, will you do the first one?
Yes. So I'm looking at that, and
Hey, hang on one second. I'm sorry. Hey, Micah, can you turn your microphone off? Sorry. Thanks. Okay, go ahead, Matt.
that's either a nifal or it's a 1CP imperfect. I've got to figure out what that noon is. And so,
Okay. Tell me what you think the lexical form is.
Weak. That's a doubly weak. What?
Tell me what you think the lexical form is.
Has. I know that much.
Okay, good.
And so it's has. And so I know that. So the nifal's typically going to have a noon hierarch, unless something. I don't know why it would gain. You know, there is some kind of weak form where the nifal gets a Sere instead of, I mean, a Segol instead of a hierarch. I have a vague memory of this.
Yeah.
And so there's just so many weak verbs happening in that thing. Well, okay, so the nif. So I'm gonna go with nifal. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
3MS.
That's good.
But I'm just not entirely sure why Would the perfect like one or imperfect one CP thing ever do that where it would get a it's a goal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're saying what's the difference between the Cal imperfect 1CP and the NIFOG perfect? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. Let me look. Oh, I just
Is that 16?
well, context.
Which is like a blank line right now. But
Right. So if you don't have any more context than that, then you pick one and you parse it that way.
that could legitimately be a imperfect 1CS Cal.
Legitimately.
Legitimately.
Yeah. Except it couldn't be 1CS. It could only be 1CP. Right?
Gotcha. Yeah, okay.
No, wait a second. I'm sorry. You're talking about... Are you saying that you think it can be Cal imperfect or Cal perfect?
Cal imperfect.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. So it could be Cal imperfect, 1CP, or it could be a NIFAL perfect, 3MM.
Cool.
Just don't combine your parsing.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Then, Micah, will you do the next one?
Sure. I'm going to say that's Cal imperfect 3FS from Shuv with a regular conjunctive Vav.
Yeah, that's good.
Yay, I got one.
Yay. Okay, Sharon, that means you're up. Did you get the second page of parsings?
Yeah.
Good.
For that one, I got the lexical form is Barak. I have
Yeah?
PL, perfect, and it was I have a question after I do this, but PL perfect 1CS. But my question is, with the pronominal suffix on the end, how do you make sure you capture that?
What do you mean?
Because I remember, I don't, is this right? Is that right or wrong first?
Well,
1CS, I think.
it would be, I don't think it would be PL. Because of the comments underneath the bait. If it were PL, oh wait, now I'm looking at the wrong thing. Hold on. Hold on, sorry.
Did the bait have a Doggett Forte? Well, I guess none of them have a Doggett Forte. Maybe I saw wrong.
Right, not in the first one. It doesn't have a doggish forte.
Was there a Doggett Forte at all?
No, there can't be a doggish because the race rejects the doggish.
The was rejected. And then there's no.
That's where it was in here. Okay. You were right. I was looking at the wrong thing. I'm sorry. You said PL imperfect,
No. Oh yeah, it is imperfect.
right?
Yeah. One
PL
CS
imperfect, 1 CS.
with the
And
predominant.
so that's compensatory lengthening, which is why there's a comments underneath
Right.
the base, right?
Yep.
And then when you have the pronominal suffix added to it, right? What pronominal suffix did you say it was?
It's your or you or something like that.
Right, but I mean, if you were to tell me, if I asked you, uh,
2MS.
yeah, so it's a 2ms pronominal suffix. So you just need to put that down
Instead of
somewhere on the line.
that's where I've been confused. Okay. Thank you.
Good. Then, John, will you do the last one? Oh, your microphone's off. It's off again. It's still off. Calmly press the button and then it will turn on. There you go.
Looks almost exactly like 4, but not quite. Having trouble picking out the word,
Okay.
whether it's rabah or, but that's not a verb. That's
Well, what are potential options that you recognize?
Well, I'm looking at the aleph and thinking imperfect, but maybe the aleph's just the first letter and the,
Okay. So what you're saying is you're trying to figure out if it's basically whether it's imperfect or whether it is a third hey.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any words that are aleph resh bait?
Well, no, I mean a ref, but that's a noun.
Right. So you probably can't parse that one.
Yeah. So, but the only rabah is like a verb either, right? Great or something, or very, or much. Yeah, thank you much for the rabah.
So what about, I don't know if you were just saying this, but what about if it was a third hey, then it would be,
Oh, to become, that's also, it's not just, yeah, to become numerous, to become great also, yeah.
there you go.
But, yeah, I'm thinking Toda Rabbah, thank you very much, but that's with an ending on the noun, Rav, not
Right.
self, which is tricky. Okay.
Right, because the noun itself is just rav, but the verb is ravah. So since you have the lexical form, tell me the rest.
So now it's imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like a 3MS. Oh, wait. Duh. It's an Aleph. It's 1 CS.
Right, 1 CS.
Okay, now add jumping. Not appear. Where's the just to hit the little doesn't go with the Seagull.
You know that it's imperfect.
Yeah.
And you know that the lexical is ravah.
Yeah.
And you know that it's 1 CS.
Right.
So then what which stem has in the imperfect a pathak underneath the prefix?
Well, I see the hifil, but I don't. But there's no hirik yod here.
You're right. There's not a hirik yod, but what about the ending of that verb would tell you that you wouldn't see a hirik yod there anyway?
Oh, the third hay's drop. Yeah.
Yeah.
The hifil, yeah. So hifil
So there you go. It's hifil, imperfect,
drops.
1 CS from Ravah.
Yeah. Cool.
How do you guys feel about those parsings?
Horrible. I feel horrible.
Yeah, I thought I was good at parsing until today.
Yeah. I feel funny.
Well, again,
They're a little tricky.
think of like the trickiest option that you have and all of the possible weaknesses that could potentially come up and put them all into verbs, and that's pretty much what that list is. So it's not necessarily that you're not good at parsing. It's that now you're getting toward the end of Hebrew 2, and there are words that have all of the weaknesses combined. And so they're awkward and not easily identifiable unless you can remember some of the weak diagnostics. And so if that was really difficult, which understandably so it is, then I would go back to those sections of weak verbs and either make up a chart, and I'll send out that chart that I have. Kate Hendrickson made it, and so I'll just send you a copy so you can practice that way. And just get those diagnostics down, and that way, when you're looking at it, it won't be so overwhelming. But again, part of it is also trying to get all of the Hebrew together that you know and apply it to one thing, and not just one individual concept of Hebrew for one verb and doing one thing at a time. Now you're having to kind of put it all together. And so anything and everything that you can write down before you take the final, just do that, because you're inevitably going to forget some of the things that you know, and it's not going to be because you don't know it. It's going to be because you know a lot more than you realize. And you just got to get it all cleanly down on paper so that you're not confusing yourself trying to come up with things off the top of your head the whole way through. Because it's also a long final. It's going to take you the full amount of time, and so the more help you can give yourself, just do that. Don't try and rely on being so incredible at Hebrew that you can pull everything out of your head. Okay?
Cool.
Okay. So that was parsing practice. Then
I have a question about. I'm sorry to interrupt. I know you're trying to move on, but I was missing something, and I think I had a question on it, but I didn't ask. And it was the one that Micah did for Shuv. It was. I know it was Colin Perfect with the Vav, and he said something about. I'm lost on that one. Was that the new and the Vav? I'm lost.
for Shuv, what's it look like?
It had the Vav consecutive with, or not consecutive. We had a Vav with the noon, and then it was Shuv with the pronominal suffix at the end with the kamate.
Oh, okay. So this one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I was looking it up, trying to figure out exactly where that came from. But it's is that a noon? That is a noon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I still don't get that.
All right. So then we said it was Nifal, right?
That's why I put down cow. Duh.
Didn't we say? No, we didn't say it was Nifal.
It was cow,
I just made that
I
up.
think that's what's messing me up.
I said
I
Cal
didn't
and
make that up.
Perfect.
I didn't mean Nifal. I meant cow. Hold on. Cow, imperfect. Right here.
What's wrong?
Here we are. Okay. Okay. if you were to go to, go to page 183, and remember we were talking about the, the bicons having their expected medial vowel in the cal when it's in the imperfect?
Yes.
Okay. So then, if you move the vav off of here, there. Okay. So
Not
what
sure.
you and then just take this comma te off of here too.
Mhm.
So you see that then would be the cal imperfect 1CP.
Yes.
Okay. So then here's this with the vav. And it's just a regular vav, right? Because it doesn't have the pathak.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's the regular vav part. And so then this, right here, the comma te, that would be, and actually now that I'm thinking about it, because you know how I like to confuse you all, you could actually also put that as cohortative.
That's what I thought it was. Okay.
Because of the comma te.
Yes.
It doesn't have the vav consecutive, it just has a regular vav.
Right. Is that a possibility?
It is a possibility. There it is. Because, yeah.
There it is.
In fact, that is actually the better option because the pronominal suffix would have a dagesh in the hay to make it the pronominal suffix.
Okay.
I just went through that fast, sorry.
I didn't catch that. So
Yeah.
I never said there was a pronominal suffix originally. I said it was 3.
Okay. Well,
So,
then to revisit this one,
I'm sorry.
this one right here is just like all the rest of them. You're just going to have to take the extra things off first to figure out what's going on. So take the vav off and take the comma te off just for right now. And you see that it's the cal imperfect,
right.
right?
Uh-huh.
And that's a regular vav. And since it's a cal imperfect 1CS with a regular vav, then there you don't have to translate it opposite. You just translate it like normal. And then you have this comma te here. And then if this hey had a dot in it, then that would be the pronominal suffix.
Oh, okay.
But it would have to have a dot right there. Since it doesn't, it's the comma te of the cohortative and or jussive. And so then you'd have to decide if it's cohortative or jussive based on the person, gender, number. Okay? Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to ask you a series of hypothetical grammatical questions. But I need to find them first. Oh, by the way, while I'm looking for these, how many paradigms are you supposed to have memorized? 8, right?
Yes.
and you're memorizing all of them, and you know all of the vowels, and you can reproduce them, and they're easy, right?
No.
Okay, they will be, right?
No. Yes.
Good. So just keep practicing those. I mean, the only thing that you can do for those paradigms is to keep writing them out. Just pay careful attention to the vowels, because that's where your points lie. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Good.
So let's see. I think you guys can do that. You guys know voice and action for all of the stems?
Voice and
I
action.
do. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys know that. What are the vowel forms that are in the lexical of bicons?
Shrek, colon, Vav, and Yod.
I hear it,
Yod.
yeah. What about the diagnostics for a cow strong verb?
Comments, Patat.
Mm-hmm. What about diagnostics for third hay and third aleph?
Comments.
Yeah. Do you know the difference between active and passive voice? I think you guys know the difference between that. How about this? Do you know the verbal function of the infinitives? What's the function of an infinitive construct, and what's the function of an infinitive absolute?
Infinitive construct is a verbal noun with a pronominal suffix. The pronominal suffix can either be the subject or object. Receiving the verbal idea, it can show purpose with the intention or result, with the la inseparable preposition attached. It can have a complementary meaning, and it can also have a with the ka, or the, at least with the ka or ba inseparable prepositions, it can also have a temporal meaning.
Mm-hmm. Good. So basically, that's all right, but the basic verbal function is a verbal noun.
Verbal noun.
Right. And that's like the first thing you said. So that's good. So what's the basic function of an infinitive absolute?
To emphasize the main noun.
Mm-hmm. And it's also a verbal noun.
Right. Main verb, I mean.
Yep. Good. Let's see what else. You know the person gender number for imperatives and gestives and coordinatives? Good. I think you guys can do that. Okay, and then this is kind of going back to that sheet that you held up. It's kind of similar, but if I were to ask you which stems have the prefix of a mem and a schwa, would you be able to tell me that?
Now I can.
Good.
Pool.
Would you be able to tell me two stems that might have a yod and a pathak in front of it for the imperfect?
So as a performative,
Yeah.
that would be Cal imperfect, one gut, as well as Hifil imperfect.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What about two stems that might have a Yoth and a Hurek for the imperfect?
So not a Hurek Yod, but a Yod Hurek.
Yeah, for the imperfect. So it would have the Yoth and then a Hurek underneath it. What are the two options that have that?
Cal and Nifal?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that one's kind of weird because the Nifal has more than that, but it does have the Hurek as well. Then what about stems that might have a Yod and a Shawat underneath it for the imperfect?
Piel and Pual.
Did you say PL and Pual?
Yes, I'm sorry with the background noise. Yeah.
That's okay.
Hey, I have a question. For the
Yeah.
previous one, for the Yod, the Hurek Yod, what about the Hitpaya?
Technically, I don't give that as an option because there is a tau that's also part of the prefix.
Okay. Just that.
But like the Nifal, it has the Dagesh and the comets as well, but those are not in the prefix. Those are actually within the stem.
Okay. Thank you.
What about two stems that might contain a He, a Hurek in the prefix?
Cal and Nifal. Cal and Nifal.
Sorry.
A Hey in the
A He in the prefix?
You said in the imperfect?
No, I said a He and a Hurek in the prefix.
In the prefix. Oh, okay. Hey and a what?
That'd be Nifl and Hifl.
And Hifil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh, this is weird. Can you name for me 3 stems that double the second consonant of the verbal root?
PL, Pual,
Uh-huh.
Paya,
Yep.
Could you repeat that?
3
PL,
stems
Pual,
that double the second consonant of the verbal root. PL, Pual, Hithpayal. Stem that has a forte and the first consonant of the verbal root for the strong verb.
Nifal.
What?
First. You said in first root consonant?
Yeah, first consonant of the verbal root.
Nifal?
Good.
For strong. Nifl.
Which stem does not have a mem as a prefix for the participle?
Nifal.
Nifl.
Yep. What about mem pathak? Which one's that?
Hifil.
Hifl.
Yeah. All right. How do you feel about grammar?
Cool.
Hey, you got a class at 6:30, right?
You
I
gotta
do
go.
have class at 6:30. I do have to go.
You should.
Thanks.
Don't be late.
All right. Well, let me know if you guys have questions. There is tutoring next week, and you can take the final anytime between now and then. So just let me know if you need it. Okay?
Ready. Have a good day.
Thank you, Alyssa. Have a great class.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mhm.